gear review here and there, some playing and some, viewer comments and stuff like that. And tonight is going to be interesting because we going to do something a little different. Turn the mic up a little bit. There we go. So we're going to do something a little different tonight. We've done Help I Hate My Kemper before. We've done 2 other episodes. And so, because we've had other things going on and all these things.
We've had other things.
Well, not only that, but, an organic opportunity has come up with it. So about a week and a half ago, we talked on the phone and you were like, bro, guess what? Just tell them how the conversation went.
Yeah, so, about a week and a half ago, I tried to find out this perfect, get the reviews on. Okay, cool, so I started segmenting profiles, and, I spent $50 on some commercial profiles. I hated every one of them, and I went up, I'm like, dude, I swear to God, I can't get that.
How can they not hear us? That's weird.
You're overseas, so background music.
Oh, is that? Alright, let me check something here.
They're like, look at the chat!
There we go. Fixed now.
Alright.
How's that?
Oh, gosh. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, my mouse isn't working over here tonight, so I had to go and turn everything. I forgot to do that. I apologize, guys.
So sorry. Let's start over real quick.
Start over.
Hey, welcome to Town Horse Sunday Night Edition.
Woohoo! I think I did that right.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
I'm Carrie. This is Jarrod, and this is our friend TJ Richards.
Richardson.
Richardson. My
Close
bad.
enough, close enough.
I am gonna get your band name right though.
Yes.
He's from Salvation's End. He wanted to join us for a special episode. Jarrod will tell you all about it.
Yes, but first, let's say hi to everybody real quick, and then
Yeah.
we'll get into the... And again, my apologies. We're doing things a little different tonight, so...
All right, we'll say hello. And thank you guys for the warning. I
Yes,
appreciate it.
thank you. Jeez.
So we got Chicago Todd. He says Dr. Chugs has the medicine for what ails you, TJ. He says, I'll say I've never messed with an Axe FX device before, but I do have a Kemper, and it's hard to imagine something significantly better. Sean
Yep.
Casey is here.
Hello.
Mario Cruz. He says, I hate my Kemper too. Mario, you're in for it tonight then.
You gotta call me.
That's
You
right.
gotta call me. Drop a dime.
White Devil, let's see. How are you doing? He said they do sound a tad fake and hard to program for me, but otherwise heaven. Tons of amps and what?
Yeah, they got a lot of great stuff in them. It's just, we're going to cover some really good... And you guys, if you have friends that have Kempers or are considering getting Kempers, share this on your Facebook page and tag them because... I'm not telling you, I'm not being hyperbolic here, but there's going to be a lot of really good information that we share tonight with you guys, and it's going to be very different than what normal Kemper content you get on YouTube or anywhere else. It's very unique. So,
Right.
Sweet. We have Paul Smith.
What's up, Paul?
Aaron Lucas is here.
What's up, Aaron? How you doing?
Derek Morrell. Hey, we haven't seen your name in a minute.
Yeah, what's going
nice
on, man?
to see you, man. Brad Shimke is here.
What's up, Brad?
He's given us his Christmas list.
You know where I live.
Gunnerman54 loves his
Hey,
Kemper.
what's going on, man?
Scott Farmer is with us.
Hey,
You mofo with the cutest little emoji ever. His little kitty in a box.
little kitty cat. What's
Little
up, man?
kitty cat sitting in there. And we have a first live chatter, Luca Siciliano. Ooh, hopefully I said that one right. He says he is from Naples, Italy.
Oh, cool.
He's really pleased for my first live chat on Town Wars.
Welcome, man. Thanks so much for being here. We hope that you enjoyed the episode. I saw Marty 5.
Marty 5.
Dude, I miss you, man. I haven't seen you in a couple episodes, so
Yeah.
thanks for being back, dude.
Hope you haven't been down with the Rona.
Yeah, we've been watching you. We've been peeking in your windows.
And Acoustic is here. I believe Acoustic and Marty 5 are
been
buddies.
here before, yeah. Thanks for being here, guys. Everybody.
Christopher
Hey,
is
Christopher.
there. We've got Jay from Warm Chord.
What's up, Jay?
Let's see, and I think I have mentioned all of the other names.
If we missed anybody, it's not on purpose.
Tanner. Ooh, we got a Tanner.
Yes, what's up, man? Tanner's been here before.
Lucas says, I'm sure of a great night. Who knows if Fractal, Axe, or Kemper? It's a Kemper, yep.
It's a Kemper, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we got some really good information that we're going to share. Please share this on your Facebook page because, again, there's a lot of people that I think would benefit from this, and I'm not being biased. I'm serious. Like, I discovered some stuff today that...
oh, it's you.
It's me. I discovered some stuff today that is... very, very informative. I'll just put it to you that way. Some stuff that you guys would really, really like.
I feel like that's something most teachers and instructors say. Like, they end up learning more from their students.
Yeah. Well, I learned a lot from this experience. I really did. And I knew that it was going to be good, but there was things I didn't see in this experience that I learned. And I was like, wow. We got to make sure we cover that tonight. So let's go over the conversation that we had.
Yeah.
That we already had.
Yeah, that we already had. So a week or so ago, you called me and just tell everybody how that all transpired.
Yeah, so about a week and a half ago, I'm getting ready to put out a new album with my band Salvation's End, and I'm kind of going through the profiles and everything, trying to find like my album tone, I guess. And I spent $50 on profiles, commercial profiles that I just absolutely hated. I mean, it was absolutely, I was not happy. I was not happy at all. So at that point, I called up Jarrod. I was just like, dude, I'm gonna throw this thing out a window. I'm done. I think I'm gonna go with a fractal or something. And reason why is because I guess with commercial profiles, we were talking, you're kind of getting the sound of the guitar that was profiled, the tuning and all that other stuff, strings and the make of the guitar. And with the fractal stuff, I was just thinking, my rationale anyway was just like, okay, I can just build it from scratch. And you know, but luckily you're just like, don't do that.
I was like, all right, give me a chance because I think I have a solution for you. So we started talking, and I was like, look, I've been doing profiles for several months now, and I've learned a lot in that several months. And I feel like my profiles are evolving; they're getting better and better, and I'm learning more every time I do a profile pack. I learn more, and I apply that to the next one, you know, and retro because I'll go back and update my old packs too. So the thing is like the things that I've learned, I was like, you know what? The reason why I love my profile pack so much is because like I'm dialing the amps in, I'm doing it all, I'm testing it, and it works for my hands. But the thing is though, is I'm not you and you're not me, you know, and I can try to get you in the ballpark of where you want to be as far as how I do my packs, but I'm going to do what sounds best to me. You know, because here's the thing. Why would I make a profile of an amp that sounds like crap to me and go, well, somebody will like it? It's like being a chef tasting something at the pass and going, well, that tastes like crap, but I'm sure somebody out there will like it. Yeah. You know, one man's junk's another man's treasure. You know, I mean, it doesn't work that way. So, you know, so that's, and that's really how it's done with profile makers. They make profile packs that sound good to them. And all due respect to all of them that do that, I mean, they should, because if it doesn't sound good, why would you release it? So, but we all have different tastes, different guitars, different styles of music, different fretboards, different pickups, different picks. We noticed even his picks sounded different. So different hands, different ways of playing, different ways of attacking the strings, gripping the strings. There's so many different things that happen, so that I said, you know what? I'll send you some of my profiles, but I said, you know what? You live like 50 minutes from me. Why don't you come over and I'll do a custom profile pack for you? I have plenty of amps. I have some stuff here that you like. And why don't we have you dial in the amp the way you like it? And you play it in the room and play it on your listening device of choice, which is your in-ears, because like you, we use in-ears live. And that's what you're going to listen to it on. And I have studio monitors. You know, and I have FR cabs and all that stuff here too, so we can test it on everything. But we want to make sure that we dial something in where you're turning the knobs, or at least you're telling me where to turn them. Right. And then you pick the cab, you pick the mics, you pick the positions on the mics, you play it, you feel it, you tell me what you like and don't like about it, and we'll shoot the profile, and we'll play Battleship. Yeah. You know, that's kind of what it is. You're playing Battleship. It's like, okay, I'm going to shoot this over, and let's see how far off we are, and then you tell me like, I like this, but it's got too much of this. Mm-hmm. We pull that out, but we don't pull it out of the profile. We pull it out of the amp.
Yep. Then profile it again.
Then we profile it again. So how many profiles? So we started out with the Engl Savage.
That's right. Yep.
Which was the one that you really wanted to do today.
Yep.
And these were TJ's profiles, how he likes them. Okay. Yep. So keep that in mind. And what we did was, I think we did like 5 or 6.
About 6, yeah.
Okay. And on the 6th one, we nailed it.
That was it. Yep.
That was it.
That was the one.
And it wasn't just about the sound, but it was the feel, right?
Yep. Yeah.
And stay tuned, because we're going to go over that and show you examples, and you're going to be surprised at the difference that we've discovered today. This is actually pretty cool.
Yeah. They're saying the suspense is building.
Oh, it is. It is. Trust me.
Also, NGD Guitar says, "What's up, guys and gal? Good to see TJ on the show again. Let's hear some shred."
Let's hear some shreds. Oh yeah, you'll hear. See, TJ's going to play some mixes of his band for you as well. We got backing tracks right here for you.
Excited.
So it's going to sound really good, unless he blows it. So I mean, we'll see how that goes.
No pressure or anything.
No pressure or anything. I'm glad I don't have to play tonight. I can get my drink on and have fun, and point fingers and laugh.
Never do that.
I'll be laughing at him. Okay, so here's what we. So then I was like, well, what else do you want to do? So we profiled the Stealth.
Yep.
And I think we did 5. Was it 4 or 5?
I think we did like 3.
Did we do 3?
Or 4,
okay. Yeah. And then we nailed it. And there were some really big differences in the way it was. Now, here's the thing. The way that we set up both of these amps to work for him, I would have never set either amp up to work like that, because I have different pickups.
Yep.
So in the room while I'm doing profiles thinking, oh yeah, these are killing it, blah, blah, blah. Well, they're killing it on my guitar. And they'll probably kill it on a lot of other people's guitars, but what do you have in that thing?
Yeah, so this is a Jeff Loomis JLV Schecter. So it's a ash body, all maple neck and fretboard with EMG 707s.
Okay.
And the pickups. So they're kind of mid-rangey. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. You got quite a honk to them.
Well, yeah, just the overall guitar, it's a pretty bright guitar.
Yeah. So it's bright and honky. So, and the thing is, and that's fine, but you have to dial in your amp to blend with that or work with that well.
Right.
And since I don't have his guitar, how am I supposed to know what he wants? You know what I mean? So the profiles that sound good to me because I'm testing them on my guitar are not going to sound good to him. We found out really quick that mine sounded good, but his sound better, because when he came in and dialed the amp in to sound and feel the way he wanted it to with his guitar, that's when the magic happened.
Yeah.
Marty 5, I am super jealous of your midnight snack.
Oh, what's he having?
He says he has a great remedy for suspense: beer, chips, and truffle mayonnaise.
Oh man, dude!
Oh, the truffle mayo. He said, "Pinky up, drinking tonight." I'm drinking water, but here's my pinky. Get your pinky out.
Cheers.
Cheers.
The next time I'm peeking in your windows, I'm going to steal your mayonnaise, dude.
Oh, man. HELIX Cabana boy joined us.
Hey, what's going on, Darren?
Hey, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Brad Chimke says, the thing about Kemper profiles is you're not just capturing the amp and cabs, you're capturing the environment that might sound great in that environment, but in others not so much.
Yes. And the other thing is like, you don't know how that guy's setting it up. You don't know what his taste is. He might be setting it up to sound good in a mix. But we're players. We want to play these in a room and practice and just write songs and play on stage or whatever. We don't want to be in your studio mix that you just made profiles for, that's the only place that those live well in is in there. And here's the other thing. The awesome studio engineer that's making those to sit well in the mix of the band that he's currently recording and mixing right now, I'm sure they sound great, but he's not playing them. He's playing the profiles with this, a mouse. He's clicking and dragging. He's dragging and dropping. He's putting them in a mix. He's not doing this. He's doing this. Click, 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 click. He doesn't know how they feel.
Yeah.
This is not going to tell you how a profile feels. It's not. It's just going to drag it and drop it and put it in a mix. So your hands are not involved. So even if he was playing them, the guitar player in the band is not. So if the guitar player in the band's like, hey, I'm going on tour, let me take my profiles with me so I can sound like the album. Yeah. And as soon as he plays them, his hands are going to go on strike. They're going to be like, these feel terrible. I don't want to play these. So there's going to be this big argument between his ears and his hands. So this way, if you have your own, custom profiles, what happens is you'll there's nothing to not like about them. You dialed in the amp. You picked how it sounds and turned the knobs and pushed the buttons and the mics and the cabs and everything else. And you tested it and you saw how the sausage was made. You were in the room while it was being made and you could trust everything.
Right.
And you A-B'd it with the amp. So there's really no way you can go wrong. It's like I saw it with my own eyes and heard it with my own ears and felt it with my own hands. It's exactly how I want it to be.
Yeah.
So no matter what, you'll never second guess it.
Well, and going on about the whole making it for a mix thing, it's like these are engineers who've been doing it for years, and they're just like, yeah, this will definitely fit a mix. It's just like, okay, well, different engineers have different levels and different ways they do things. So it's like it might fit in their mix. It won't necessarily fit in my mix or somebody else's mix.
Or on your stage or in your practice room.
And that's another thing. You know, I mean, I want a raw sound. I want to have complete control over how the amp sounds. That way I can do the kind of EQing I can do the compression I like, whatever it needs, exactly. I can do that. And I think with these, it's like just pure the amp and cab. You don't have to worry about it, so it's nice.
A couple of the guys are going gaga over your guitar.
Oh, well, thanks. I do it all the time.
It's a beast.
Yeah. Steve Shaheen says that V is killer.
Oh, what's up, Steve?
Marty5 says that V is huge. What's the scale?
26.5 scale length.
There you go.
Yeah, 7 string, right?
Yep, 7 string.
Yeah. Real men play 7 strings. All right, so let's get started. We got 37 people here, so I figured we've stalled long enough.
Yep,
Gave
38.
you some 38. Oh man. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start with the Savage.
Yeah.
All right, and we're gonna show you the evolution. So right now, TJ, just play some chunky riffs and play like the stuff that you normally play as well, because we want to hear it in context.
Sure.
So we're gonna start with the first profile that he did, and then we're gonna switch to the second one. Or the last one, which is the one that he settled on. And you can hear quite a big difference between the two. And then we're going to talk about, the little journey that we took to do that. So let me mute the mic and take it away. All right, so let's switch to the one we settled on. Go ahead. All right, very good. Yeah, so there was way more. Well, I'll let you talk. You say what you noticed between the two.
Well, the first one was pretty dark.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one thing I noticed, and it kind of sounded maybe a little bit mid-heavy.
Okay.
And I think with the second one, it's very clear and a lot of note definition. You can hear the separation between all the notes, especially when you're doing like the faster kind of stuff like that, where you're bouncing off of another lower string or whatever the case is. So, yeah.
More definition, more dynamics,
response, definitely.
Yeah, clarity and all that was there.
Yeah.
And I would have never set the amp up that way.
No.
Ever, because I don't have his guitar.
Right.
I test the amp with my guitar before I do the pickup or do the profiles, and it sounds good to me. So I can't but if I had a maple neck and EMGs, I would do. How do I know what I would do? I don't have that guitar, so it's the wrong context for me. Right. So because of that, what we did is we there was like a few profiles in between, but to save time, we went from one to the other. So here's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to go back to the one that we started on. Yeah. And while you're playing the same riff over and over again, I'll switch to the new one, okay? Go ahead. I mean, it just woke right up.
Yeah.
And the first one we did was, it wasn't like we didn't dial in the amp. We did. We dialed in the amp, and we messed around with it, and he was like, this sounds really good. Yep. And we tried it out, but then as we went, the profiles evolved into like where TJ was like, leave it. Yeah. I'm done. Yep. I don't need anything else. He has his mixes here, so we tested it in a mix.
Yep.
Excuse me. And it just worked, and both of us were like, there it is.
Yep.
And for his guitar and his style of playing and the way he does things, even your pick attack is quite a bit different than mine.
Yeah.
I mean, you play with that backwards pick.
The Ola England.
Yeah, the
Ola
Ola
England way. That's what I call it.
Yeah. So he's backwards on his picking and stuff. So it just worked for him much better, and I would have again never thought of dialing in the amp the way that I did for TJ.
The Chicago Todd says, if I'm not mistaken, the Kemper was not really designed for profile sharing. It was designed to capture your amps so you wouldn't have to lug them around.
Pretty much. That's what it was designed for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we had just a couple comments on what they heard. Jay said the second one sounds less muffled and more in your face.
Yep.
Let's see, Marty 5, that shreds and cuts at the same time.
Yep. Exactly.
Chicago Todd again, with what I said previously, because there's so many profiles out there, I can usually find something that suits my taste and pickups.
Right.
Yep. Exactly.
NGD Guitar says, it's Nick, by the way.
Oh. What's up, Nick?
And Scott Fulmer wants to know if I was wearing black shoes tonight.
Yep, she is.
And show me that beast. Black shoes are my jam. I know, while you guys were talking, I saw his comment, and I was like, yep, I did a little, turn. Oh, am I knocking your stuff over?
Yeah. And the other thing I wanted to say, too, is, now, if TJ bought like a huge pack of profiles, could he have found that one that worked for him in the mix? I'm sure he could. I'm sure it's possible. If it's there, number one, if somebody actually thought to dial in that amp to set, for his settings that he likes. But here's the other thing, though. By the time he got there, how fatigued are his ears?
Extremely.
Yeah. And then the next day, what's that like? You come downstairs and you pick the profile with your fatigued ears, and the next day with fresh ones, you're like, what the hell was I thinking?
Yeah.
You have coyote ear. You guys know what I'm talking about. Coyote arm, coyote ear. So it's one of those kinds of things. So it could be a problem. And again, with the custom profiles, what happened was he got exactly what he wanted.
Right.
So like when you go home, even weeks from now, if you try my new profile pack, blah, blah, blah. If you buy right now, you get a free set of steak knives and all this kind of crap. You're not going to think twice and go, oh, maybe I should know. You're going to be like, you know what? I saw how the sausage is made. I taste tested it. I know the ingredients that are in there. I tested it. I A-B'd it with the real amp. I'm good. I'm not saying that you shouldn't buy, other profile packs out there. I'm not saying that at all, because there are plenty of people that are very happy with them. But what I am saying, though, is when you do the custom thing, if you're really, this is for the people that are really frustrated with the Kemper, and they're just like, man, I still haven't found the Holy Grail. I found stuff that I like, but not stuff that I'm just totally like, that's it,
Yeah.
And for the people that are curious as to what might be out there, so.
Well, something else that might be a contributing factor, too, is that I was actually doing a lot of the demos for the new album with real amps and IRs.
Yeah.
And you get so used to that real tube sound that when you go to a Kemper or profile and it's supposed to be of the same amp, the response isn't there or whatever the case is, because you're able to actually tweak and correct me if I'm wrong, but with the Kemper I think that you're doing the EQing, it's more so guessing, not really. It's not responding how the amp would respond.
No, I'm glad you brought that up. Before we go to the next set of evolutions that we did with the EVH profiles, let me just say this. If you get an amplifier and you profile it and you're like, or you buy a profile of an amp that's a little too dark and you turn the treble knob or the presence knob up on the Kemper, you're not turning the presence or treble knob up on the amplifier. It acts completely different. It's its own EQ. It's a very generic EQ that just has its own sweep and just does its own thing. So don't think that, well, I'll just turn the highs up a little bit more and it'll sound like that amp with the treble knob up. Not true at all. So what we did, because we're doing customs, is I turned the treble knob up on the amp, because there was one where we were like, oh, a little more highs, and I'm like, let's do the amp that way. So we nudged the highs up, and we nudged the mids where we wanted them, took the bass down a little bit or whatever. I think it was the EVH.
I think it was the Engl.
Was it the Engl?
Yep. Yeah.
And all of a sudden, it was like, there it is. And we know it's organic because we didn't change anything on the Kemper. The Kemper EQ is flat.
Yep.
So the amp was profiled that way. So we got the true essence of the amp in those settings.
Well, again, the beauty of it being raw is that, once you find like your EQ settings on the recording session or whatever, you can just mimic it on the EQ of the Kemper. Not the actual EQ of the amp, but like an EQ block.
Yeah.
And then, do like a graphic EQ and do whatever tweaks you want to make it fit in a band setting.
Yeah.
But with these being the way they are, it's no different than, having a cabinet. And it's, like I said, it's raw, so.
Yeah, it's all raw. And the thing is all the changes that we did to make these work for TJ are real changes on the real amp, not afterwards.
Yep.
So.
Brad Chimke wants to know, TJ, what is your real tube amp of choice?
My real tube amp of choice.
Yep.
Well, I was actually using the Mesa Boogie dual rectifier with a Crank Rev 1. I had both those amps at my studio. That's what I was using, blending them. Those were really cool. I think, though, probably like an Engl Savage or Powerball or the EVH, I was actually really impressed with. This Stealth was really, incredible.
Yeah,
so,
he didn't know he was going to like that so much.
Not a clue. I drove here with the complete mindset of like, yes, it's going to be the Savage.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, this is like the first time I've actually like played the Mark II Savage.
Yeah.
And of course all the bells and whistles to it.
Yeah,
the last time I played an Engl was in 2012 when I was on tour in Europe.
Yeah.
And it was funny because I had like a bunch of the German bands we were playing with. Don't touch my tone. Don't touch my nub. And I'm just like, okay, man, no worries. I won't adjust it. And so I never really got to play with it. So this is my first time being like, okay, what does that switch do? What does this one do?
And we had fun with it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Jay asks, would TJ keep the Kemper for just the profiles he dialed in with Jarrod, or is he considering selling it to get the Engl and an IR loader?
Uh-oh. Well, I already have an IR loader.
Yeah.
I do have the captor, torpedo captor.
Yeah.
But I will probably keep the Kemper.
Gonna
and
keep
just
it
buy
now?
an Engl. Just buy an Engl.
Yeah, the amps are amazing.
Yeah.
You can't beat an amp. An amp in the room with that push from the speaker cab,
Yeah.
just giving you shin splints while you're doing the palm mutes and stuff. You can't beat that. It's incredible. So, all right, so let's go to the EVH Evolution. All right, we got 3 different ones that we're going to show you. So, we started at a certain point.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let me point this out to you as well. So, what happened in real time here was, wow, this is really great. And then all of a sudden, after, 3 or so minutes of playing, I saw the countenance of his face change. And you see that tilt, like, oh, wait a minute, I'm hearing something. And then, so instead of like, choose another profile and hopefully I'm not stuck with something I'm not happy with, it was like, what are you hearing? And it was like, what was it that we were talking about?
It was that super like genty mid-range.
Honk.
Yeah, honk.
That weird half-cocked wah kind of. I hate that sound. I hate it.
It's almost like a thinner Meshuggah. That's kind of what it sounded like.
Yeah.
Like Meshuggah, I'm like, yeah, that's awesome tone, and then it's like, this is like the young brother who just didn't achieve any of the talent.
Yeah, it was weird. It was like, when you first play anything, it's if it's in the ballpark, there's always things you're gonna like about it. But then as the night went on, Chuck, I found out she's crazy. She killed both of her parents and she's on the run. So, that's kind of how it is. Dinner was great, but dessert?
Right.
So basically what happened was we were like, all right, so what's wrong? And instead of changing it on the Kemper, we changed it on the amp, and then reprofiled it, and then we evolved from there. So we've got 3 of them to show you. We're going to start with number 1, 2, and 3. So I'll be 1, 2. I can't count. 1, 2, and 3, and show you how they evolved. Okay.
One second. Aaron Lucas wants to know if TJ tried your Badlander profiles.
I don't think you did you?
No. I actually I saw the episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was actually at work.
How dare you?
I know. I was at work.
Darn.
And I was like, man, this thing sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Those are selling.
I haven't had a chance to try it out yet.
Seriously, that's my biggest seller right now. Yeah, dude. And thank you to all the people that have bought the Badlanders. I sell about 5 packs a day of those, and I'm not kidding you. They came out. I sucked the soul out of that amplifier. It is like the essence of that amp, 100%, and they came out great.
As you guys can see, there's a lot of content that Jarrod wants to get to tonight, so I might not be able to read every single comment that's on there. If it's super duper important, make sure you hit @ToneWars. That way I can scroll up and go back to it.
We don't want to miss any comments.
There's so many. I'm like, could you shut up a little bit? But I know you want to go.
No. So like, please tag Tone Wars.
Yeah.
And we don't want to miss any of your comments. Are there any things that you want to get to before I switch here? Because we don't want anybody to feel like they're being ignored.
Let's do it this way and say, if you want your comment, retype it and hit @Tone Wars, and then when we come back from him playing, I'll go over those comments.
Because your comments are very important to us.
Yes.
That's what this live stream's all about. So, all right. So 1 second. Let me. We're gonna go EVH the Evolution 1, 2, and then the final one, which is number 3. I'll just play the same riff over and over again.
Sure.
Here we go. Okay, now that was the Evolution. There was about, I think it was 5, but we just went 1, 2, and 3. I skipped a couple just to spare you the time. So, so let's go to the first one and then play some stuff that kind of, where you were tilting your head like the puppy dog, going, I hear mid honk.
Yeah.
1 second. Okay, so the clarity, the top end, and that mid kind of honky kind of thing is gone.
Completely gone.
And it sounds just more even-keeled, but it's got that nice top end.
Yep.
And what I did is I ended up taking the bass down a little bit, too, and the resonance, right? It wasn't as,
Yeah, actually, what you did is I believe you took down the resonance a little bit, and I said, okay, try this. And, lows at 1, highs around 12:30, and then the mids, it's about 9 o'clock. On that.
Yeah, see, I never set the amp up like that.
Right.
My amp, when I play it, the mids are almost in the middle, but my pickups are different, and my neck is different.
Yep.
And so, like, it's at about just over 9 o'clock. The lows are at 1 o'clock. Gains at 11 o'clock. Highs are dead nut center, and the presence is down to, like, 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
So, and the thing is like, what we found was, instead of, like, again, tweaking it on the Kemper, which... I'm not kidding you. If you turn the knobs on the EQs on the Kemper, it's not as if you're turning the knobs on the amp. It acts completely different, because even from amp to amp, the treble knobs do different things. They have a completely different sweep on them, So
well, it's funny too, and that's what I was going to say, was that with that amp, that setting would not work on.
No, hell no.
Not at all.
It'd be terrible.
Yeah, I mean, that one is completely different. Like, the lows are probably at, like, 11 o'clock on the Savage.
Yep.
So...
Yeah, it's a completely different amp. So, I mean, and what we did was we got rid of that honk, but again, we did it the natural way.
Yep.
We did it the organic way, where we took it out of the amplifier as opposed to out of the profile.
Nuts saying that it's the organic way. He says they're not organic. They don't grow on trees.
Hey, I have an organic amp garden in my backyard.
I think so. You get so many.
I'm going to shoot you with my booger gun.
He also wanted to ask, it's a very important question, how do you suspend your Kemper board like that?
Oh, it's magic.
Focus.
It's magic. It's actually sitting on an amp stand. So, like, these are the legs right here of the amp stand that you're seeing here. Yes, it's Peter Pan magic. So again, Marty, it's always good to see you here, buddy. I missed you the last 2 episodes, so I was worried.
Aaron Lucas is messaging me on the side. He's like, hey, are you bored?
She's with us. How can she be bored?
Right?
It's testosterone land in here. So basically, now here's where we're going to get to the spicier stuff in a minute here, so stay tuned for that. But I think you should play a mix for everybody. Which amp
Love to hear it. Yeah.
profile would you like to play a mix in?
Let's do the EVH, the
Okay.
one I settled
Let me
on.
make sure I have your delay set up the way it should be, okay?
What cab were you guys using for that?
The Mesa.
The
Mesa 212, yep.
Yep. And then, how about an EQ in the X slot to adjust tones from Mule Blues?
That's a good question. Now you can do that, but once again, it's more of a studio EQ that you would use for mixing and stuff. Will it work for a player? Yeah, it will. But honestly, the custom way is now look. Not everybody can do custom profiles. I totally understand that and I respect that. Okay, and again, I'm not trying to say you should only do custom profiles. Those things are good fixes for you to get you through. You know, but the best way to do it is, do some custom ones. If you got friends or whatever that could do these for you, and you could dial in the amp the way that you want, I'm telling you, you'll never look back. You never look back, and because you're dialing in the amp, you know, that was grown in my backyard on an organic tree on an organic amp farm, the way it should be organically, Marty. And you can trust it because you were here, you saw it. So no matter what happens down the road, you could be like, well, I know it was real because I tested it myself, you know.
Well, a lot of people are also going to be, like, happy with what they have. You know, they might go through a whole pack and be like, wow, these 10 profiles definitely work for me. These sound fantastic.
Yep.
But for me, I'm like a tone junkie. Like, I have to have, because I'm an engineer too, I have to have my hands on the amp as much as I can to get it to how I want it.
Because you can trust it.
Yeah, exactly. And with this, it's like I've tried it like over and over again. You know, the EQ block on the X block or whatever, and the actual EQ on the amp, and like, man, it's just not
Andrew
working.
Stonerock, I apologize for interrupting you, but
no,
Andrew Stonerock popped in up here, and now he's like, all right, I gotta go back. It was nice. And I hadn't even said hello to him yet.
Sorry.
Hello and goodbye.
busy night, man. Sorry. Well, and you got to keep in mind too, like, when you pull frequencies out, like if you're making profiles or buying profiles from people that make them for mixing, when they pull those frequencies out, those frequencies take away from the feel of the amp. You know, they really do. So every frequency has a lot to do with how the amp feels. And the more they pull that stuff out, the less the amp feels real and good to your hands. You know, and when you pull enough of that stuff out and sterilize and homogenize the tone for a mix, you're never going to be able to, I mean, the feel and the response and the reaction, and we will prove that to you, is gone. And we're going to prove that to you big time in a minute here. But before we do that, TJ is going to play a mix for you guys. You want to do Storm, right?
Yeah, we can do
Okay,
that.
I want to make sure that's right. I'm going to turn, I'm going to be his effects guy. I'm going to turn on the delay for when he plays his solo.
Yep.
To cover up all his mistakes. Okay,
all of them. All of them.
all 20 of them.
Yep.
All right, so here we go.
Alright, in the year of the
dude, that was
Yes.
freaking killer, man.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, they're loving on the song too.
Wow.
awesome.
So the
Dude.
song is Killer from Aaron Lucas.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Berserkerland Studios has joined us, and he said that riff is evil.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you.
that's
Thank you very
that's him. He plays evil riffs.
I do. I do. Very dark and foreboding.
Yeah, exactly.
Sean Casey said awesome tone, and yeah, he said awesome tone and awesome. Left it open, but
Oh,
Playing
all of it's great.
all of it.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, somebody was asking what the band name was. It's Salvation's End.
Salvation's End. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
and the singer is kind of a famous YouTuber.
Yep. Yeah. Rob Lundgren.
Yeah.
From Sweden.
Yep.
I don't know what it is, but all the Sweden singers, man, they're just phenomenal.
Freaking amazing.
Amazing.
I just feel like our style of music is popular over there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
Would love to go over there.
And he was great to work with, wasn't he? He was super
one
cool.
of the nicest guys in the world. It was,
Yep.
yeah. I mean, he's just a pleasure to work with.
Yeah.
And we actually did a metal cover of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers theme, and dude, I mean, he
cool.
killed it.
Yeah.
It was so good.
It was good,
Yeah.
man. No, I think that, like, you know, and again, we didn't do anything to the tone. It's raw. I didn't do any EQs, no nothing. We EQ'd the amp. We set up the amp the way he liked it.
Yep.
And it's literally as if he played that amp in a live mix, and there's no homogenization to it, nothing. It's just raw. And here's the thing, like you went to Full Sail, you did
Yep.
all that stuff. You can do a live sound thing. You could do you mixed your own albums and
Yep.
all that kind of stuff. So you know what you're talking about. But the thing is if you're gonna take like a raw guitar tone in the studio, which is typically what you do.
Yep.
You're just going to do the high low pass and the little 4K whatever pin drop, and that's it, right? And maybe
Yep.
that compressor.
Yeah. I actually, and that was one thing I was going to say was that during the lead, when I grabbed that last note, I normally I'd have to like kind of
Keep hitting it.
yeah. It wasn't like that. It was like
Didn't die.
like I just kept it going and it all the sustain and everything.
Profiles for players, not studio engineers.
Yeah, and that was another thing, you know. It leaves all the characteristics of the amp cabinet, everything, to where it's like, okay, cool. I can go in and I can do my C4 compression of those, just the low mids,
Yeah.
just to keep the palm mutes under control.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
you know, some minor EQing just to make it fit in a mix. And I mean, it sounds amazing as is.
Yep. And see, that's how it should be. And I have to give you credit because you're the one that dialed in the amp. So it literally, this is TJ's profile. I just sat here, I supplied the amp and the cabs and, you know, all the stuff and the chicken, you know, that you didn't eat.
Yeah.
But, you know, but the thing is, though, is I just pushed profile. You know what I mean? So the nice thing about it is it does exactly what he wants it to do because he's the one that dialed it in the way he liked it. And it's done. It's a done deal. And it sounds great in the mix. And you heard the evolution.
Yep.
And it fits his playing style, and you have a light touch when you play, right?
Yep. Very light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that brings us to the next.
Real quick, let me just
Thing.
say thank you to Ben Burnett. He sent a great super chat.
Oh, thanks, man.
He said this format of show is really helpful to experienced and beginners alike. Carrie is making some incredible content.
Why does she get all the credit?
That's funny. There was another question in here I showed you while he was playing.
Oh, someone was asking about the difference with active pickups.
No. Where'd it go?
I think it was Brad Shimke,
See,
wasn't
I
it?
can't keep it all when we don't do it right away. I
Yeah.
get lost.
I think Brad Shimke was asking if it makes a difference if you profile an amp with active pickups.
Oh, yeah. Oh, here it is. Does the Kemper sound weird if an amp is profiled with passive pickups and you use active pickups or vice versa?
Okay, so that's a good question. So let me clarify some things with that as well. So when and he might be using the term loosely if it's profiled with active pickups or passive pickups. You don't really profile an amp with that, but I think I know what he's talking about. So you have active pickups,
That's right,
right?
yep.
Okay, so when we dialed in the amp, we dialed in the amp with his guitar, with him playing it, and with his pickups.
Right.
And again, it sounded leaps and bounds different than what I would dial it in with my guitar with my passive pickups on it. So it's not necessarily the pickups have anything to do with how the amp's profiled, but they have a lot to do with how the amp is set up before it's profiled, if that makes sense. And again, I set both of these amps up completely different than what I would have ever even thought of doing, because I didn't have TJ's perspective. And there's a lot of people with active pickups out there, and I wouldn't know the first thing about what you guys would want unless I was doing custom pickups or custom profiles for you.
Right.
So, again, I'm not saying that the profiles that you're buying right now are bad. They're not. I know a lot of these guys that make profiles, and they do a great job. So let me clarify that. I'm not trying to bash anybody. I'm just saying that if you want. It's some people say, the Kemper, it just doesn't work for me. No, it's the profiles. It's not the Kemper. It's the profiles. Because this dude was seriously 100% convinced last week when we were on the phone. He's like, selling my Kemper, I'm getting an XFX3. I'm like, no, you're not. You're going to come over to my house, and we're going to profile these amps the way you want them. And I said, I want you, and I literally came up with the idea that day, because I was like, well, I'll send you some of mine. I'm like, wait a minute, you live close to me. Just drive your happy ass over here, and we'll park you in a chair, and we'll dial in all these amps the way you want them, and do it your way. And trust me, he made better profiles than I did for him, because, again, he dialed in the amp, and I just supplied the place to do it at, and the amplifiers, and the talent, the charm, the charisma, the whiskey, and the Kemper. But it worked out for him, because he literally is at the point right now where he's like, I totally go for these, no problem, right? I mean,
that EVH profile, I don't think I mean, that'll probably be my main profile for everything.
You came for the
Engl.
I
came for the Engl. That's what's messed up. Yeah. Because the Engl, it sounds amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm actually, what I'm really curious about is blending both profiles in a mix to see how that would sound.
You know me, I'm a best of both worlds person.
Yeah,
When it comes to mixing amps, I think you should always do two different amps, because the same amp on each side looks like this. Two different ones, that's how big it is, because they're all filling in frequencies that the other one didn't.
Especially since I like to torture myself and quad track everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Aaron Lucas asks, since TJ dug the EVH, how difficult would it be to achieve the same tone on the Helix?
I don't know. Is he asking me or TJ? I mean,
He said at Tone Wars, so.
Okay. Well, here's what I've found. Okay, like I've done a lot of work on the Helix and different other digital platforms and stuff, and I think they're great.
Like,
I really do.
Feedback.
Yeah, he's got a jack.
I got a weird.
It keeps going weird on him.
Yeah.
So I think that the Helix does a great job. I think it does good. I think the sounds in the Helix are really good, and you can get a great recordable tone out of it, and even a live tone out of it. They're great. I prefer to use the Helix as a 4-cable method unit with my amps, and it works perfectly with that, and that's literally what it was built for, was to be the hub of all of your gear. And the amplifier sounds in it are good, but I think the Helix, the best way to use the Helix is 4-cable method. It really shines when you do that. Any modeler out there can model an amp pretty well. It's like a really nice glossy LaserJet printer version of an amplifier, but the Kemper, in my opinion, in my experience, is a 3D printer of an amplifier. It's
a
more
snapshot. You're getting like a picture of it, like you said. And to answer that, put my 2 cents in.
By all means, regale us.
The Helix, that's what I was using for like the longest time before I switched to Kemper, and I got some really great tones out of it. I really did. But I think half the battle is the proper IR and knowing what kind of mic placement you want, what kind of sound you're going for. If it was powered with a tube power head, or if it was a clean solid state. All that plays a huge factor in the overall tone. So I mean that. I did find usable tones out of the Helix. I just think that this is a little bit more. It just feels a little different. I don't really know how to put it into words. It's just it has a different feel.
Well,
and I think
you listen
that's all
with your hands.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's the thing. You listen with your hands, and if something doesn't feel right, you don't, as a person, your brain's trying to figure out, like, why doesn't this sound good to me? And really, a lot of it is your hands don't like it. And your ears might, but your hands are always going to win every time.
Luca wants to know if TJ ever tried a passive pickup guitar like Jarrod's Ernie Ball, Majesty, JP or Majesty. Yes. Actually, I have a Chris Broderick signature Jackson with his signature DiMarzio pickups. Sound phenomenal. Pretty much based off the deactivator and the PAF, and they sound awesome. And I'm actually getting a new guitar here soon. It should be here
after the new year. I'm super excited about it. It's an Ormsby Metal V guitar, and that has passive pickups, and I think I'm going to be putting a Seymour Duncan Pegasus and Sentient in that guitar.
Nice.
So.
Sweet.
And he'll need different profiles when that happens.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
Scott
you know where I live.
Yep.
All right. We got a super chat from Scott Fulmer.
Oh, thanks,
Thank
man.
you very much. He said, thanks again for reviews, demonstrations, perspectives, honesty, and experience, and insights.
Thank you.
So many things. You're welcome.
Hey, you're welcome, man. I mean, that's what this show's about. I mean, we try to do things. I mean, I guess I have a different perspective than a lot of people do, and I'm okay with that because, like, I want to give you guys a different perspective. Like, when you come here, I want you to have, like, something different as opposed to, like, an echo chamber of what's already out there. Come here to get something that's a little different, you know? And, you know, we just want to give you some, you know, some kind of non-standard type what's the word? Content. Yeah, content.
Dave Revell says, what's TJ's thought on the molecular compared to his rig of choice, or what's on the show played tonight?
I don't think you've played the molecular.
No.
He hasn't even played that.
Yeah.
That's sad.
It is.
That's sad,
It is.
TJ.
I think we have a switcher. Is it hooked up?
No, everything's off. It's all Kemper now, but we'll before the
You're
evening's
gonna
over.
put TJ through
Yeah,
the gauntlet?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna put TJ through the
Let's put
gauntlet.
TJ through the
Yeah,
gauntlet.
I'll be more than happy to.
We'll
hook
do
up
that
to
after
it.
the show.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
We'll report back to you, Dave.
Yep.
Ben asks, can Jarrod play TJ's profiles with his guitars? It would be neat to see the difference you're talking about.
That'd be interesting.
They're upstairs, but I mean, you know, it would be interesting, wouldn't it? Maybe I should go grip my guitar. Let's do this first. That's a great idea. Please don't let me forget that. Ben, that's killer. That's a great idea.
Yep.
I will do that. But before I do that, let's go over what we talked about earlier on the difference. So what we did is TJ brought some of his profiles that he's been using up to this day. Okay, that he's been, you know, obviously he's been happy with, but also frustrated with at the same time.
Yep.
We're not going to name names here because that's not what we're about. Okay, because we know that people work very hard out there on doing this, and what works for one person doesn't always work for somebody else. It doesn't mean it's bad, but we're going to show you how important it is that you not only get profiles that are not homogenized for a studio, that are made for a guy that plays your guitar with this when he's reamping your mix in your guitar tracks. He's playing with that.
Yep.
You know, and you want something that feels good and responds the way you want it to when you play. So what we're going to do is you're going to just pick like you showed me earlier. Like, and I'm going to switch between the profile you've been using, which is going to be this one, and then and I'm going to switch to the one that we did today, which will be here.
Yep.
So this is the old one. This is the new one.
We got to get
Old,
that paddle thing.
New, I know. Okay, and then you're going to hear a major difference, okay? 1 second. Okay, so what was happening here is like he's a light picker.
I don't beat my strings at all.
Nope. But when I switched to the new profile that we did as a custom one, it responded better to him. It had more meat to it. It had more attack, and it sounded like he was picking harder. And I swear to you guys, that wasn't something we planned where it's like, when I go like this, pick harder. Yeah. No, because he did this earlier to me when we were down here, and I was like,
didn't have a clue. Had no idea.
I was like, oh my God, like we have to show this example tonight. And it's on both of them. So let me switch to the EVH one.
Yeah, this is actually the one that I actually spent $50 on. So I'm pretty...
Yeah, so here we go. Okay, so the other one, the old one, was pretty lifeless, the one you spent $50 on.
Yeah.
Lifeless. It had no... But see, in the studio maybe, if we quad track it, it'll sound beefier. But the thing is, though, is he wants to play this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you don't want to play doing DI tracks. I mean,
No.
you know, it's not going to be very inspiring. I mean, if you're like touching up maybe riffs or something like that, you want to make sure they're tight. That's one thing. But if you're trying to play an entire thing and it's just nothing but a clean guitar.
Well, and the thing is it should be fun. It shouldn't be labor. I mean, if he's a light picker, he shouldn't have to be a heavy picker just to make a crappy profile work for him. You know, again, he's not playing with a mouse. He's playing with the guitar.
Yeah.
He's not reamping. He's actually playing, you know.
Well, if you'd like, I can actually, if you want to switch back to that, the old one,
okay,
I'll actually beat the hell out of the guitar.
Okay,
you know?
So here we go. Here's the old one. And the thing is though is when you're a fast player like he is, you do a lot of those spider finger kind of crazy runs and stuff. I mean, you can't play hard and fast. You got to either play one or the other.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a chug guy. He's a riffy, like, all over the neck spider finger guy.
Show me that.
You know?
He says he likes to dig himself to China when he picks. He's a digger and he admits it.
You're a digger, are you?
Yeah, I know. I never
pick a winner.
I've never been like that ever. You know, like I just. You know,
just
I kind of feel
guy.
like, as relaxed as I can be.
Guy.
That's just it. You know, it's like I want to be as relaxed as I can. Let my wrist do all the work and everything.
Well, and the thing is like that works for you. But if someone else came here and wanted, the custom profiles, they would have the amp dialed in completely different for them. Yeah. You know, and they would walk out of here just as happy with you are with something that's totally different than what you have. You know. So it's that's one thing that really stood out to me that I was like, now you have the response, and I'm telling you guys, like, having that response is, God, it's got to be 90% of what we want as players. Yeah. Because if the amp is not responding, or if the Kemper or whatever it is that you're playing through is not responding the way you need it to, it's like having sloppy steering. You know, how are you supposed to corner like a madman when you have a car that has sloppy steering? It's like, well, learn how to, anticipate that. Well, why don't you just tighten up the steering so I can corner better? Why don't you do that, you know? Oh, well, you actually want me to custom set up your car for you? Yeah, dummy. That's what I want, you know? And it's the same thing with this. It's like you're getting your stuff customly set up for you, where it's like you can pick any way you want, and it's going to work for you, and you don't have to work it so hard. But again, there's other guys that actually beat the piss out of their strings, and they want something different.
I was going to say, there might be people who pretty much beat their strings to death, who might like that old profile I was using. They might be like, yeah, that's definitely okay for me. But for somebody like me, where I try to play as relaxed as possible, because when I go on stage, man, I need all the help I can get.
Well, don't we all? I mean, seriously, we all do. And you need an amp that responds properly. And an amp or a profile of an amp that's set up to sound good in a mix is not going to support you. Right. You're going to get pantsed every time by that.
And this is something else that's really interesting, is that with Salvation's End, we all use in-ears. And I played a show, actually on Halloween, I played a show at the Token. And the monitors, we had some issues with the monitors. Always
issues with the freaking monitors.
And they weren't using in-ears. It was. So I was asked to come up and just kind of do the show. Do a couple songs with them. No monitors at all. And of course I was going direct. So, you want to go up there and have fun. You want to, and it's like, if I feel like I can't hear myself, I'm going to try to play harder. I'm not going to have as much fun as if I could.
You can either play fast or hard. Most people can't do both. You know what I mean?
Fish out of water.
So I mean, you gotta have that ability to have that speed. And when you're playing a certain way, you need the amp to respond properly. And if you got to beat the piss out of your strings to get the sound out that you need, it's like you're worn out by the end of the night. You're like, God, I can only play this so many times before my wrist is done. Yeah. And then you're gripping the strings harder with this hand because it's just your whole body's tense, Yeah. And it just sucks. It's almost like for a vocalist, it's like for you, like if you had a microphone that sounded like it was 10 feet away from you as opposed to right here. You know what I mean?
And it's not even the mic. That's why prefer using the in-ears
Yeah.
because if the stage monitors aren't working, I can't hear myself. I'm gonna sing harder and
sing
louder
harder.
and push more.
And then you can't hit the notes.
Blow out my voice
Exactly.
faster.
You know?
And it's the same thing with the profile that might not be as responsive as you need it to
Yeah.
be, because now you're like, okay, well, this is no fun anymore. And the guitar is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be a
Hey,
fun
dude,
instrument,
if it's
you know?
not fun, why even do it? Because we don't make any freaking money doing it, So it's like the only thing we get paid in is fun anymore, And it's kind of like the difference here. I got
Fun and
my
exposure.
Yeah,
Oh.
exposure.
These days, there's
Yeah.
zero exposure.
I know.
No kidding.
Yeah, well, exposure to certain things, but yeah, but yeah. So
Jay says, as more of a punk rock player, I can tell those profiles wouldn't work as well for me, but they sound great for TJ's playing.
yeah,
Custom custom profiles are the way to go if you're using a Kemper.
Mm-hmm.
And
They
then
really
Derek says, what is the advice if you can't get custom profiles so you aren't spending an arm and a leg looking for good profiles?
That's a good question, and I appreciate you asking me that. So here's what you do, all right? And now this all happened, I'll use the word organically, because of the conversation that TJ and I had with our organic cell phones that were grown in an organic cell phone garden while I was eating organic vegetables.
Yep.
So we were literally talking on the phone about it. I'm like, why don't you come over? I'll shoot the profiles for you. Let's try it out and see how it happens. And I said, you know what? Maybe I should do that. Maybe I should start doing, like, custom profiles for people, and local guys can come over and do it. And then I started really turning my gears and going, you know what? With technology the way it is right now, you can literally, who was it that asked about that?
Derek Merrill.
Derek Merrill. My email is in the description. So you can email me and we'll set up a Skype, Zoom, or Google Hangs meeting. And all you got to do is bring your Kemper, just get it ready, plug it in, get it ready, and then get a good set of earphones or whatever it is that you listen to stuff on with your computer. We could do a Skype session. You can pick any amp on my wall, any amp you want, and I'll do a tester profile, and we'll play Battleship for a couple minutes, just like what me and TJ did. I'll send you what I think is pretty good. You'll tell me what kind of pickups you have, this and that, and then I can even have a gear cam set on that amp so you can see the settings on it, and you can say, you know what, it's like what TJ said. Let's just say it's got too much mids, kind of honky. Take the mids out a little bit. I could turn them down, shoot the profile, email it to you right now in real time while I'm waiting. You can put it in your Kemper, play it, and go, oh, that's it. Or more gain, less gain, more highs, more lows, whatever you want. I can dial it in the way you want. And before we're done with the Skype call, you got exactly what you want. And once we nail this amp, and you can look over, you got the Chariot Molecular. Can I get a profile of that? Hell yeah, you can. I mean, we're on a Skype call. Why not? I'll fire it up and profile it
Jarrod
for you.
hasn't mentioned it yet, but this is all for a fee. Like, it's,
Yeah.
Can't do it for everybody. I know you're uncomfortable asking and stuff like that, but it will all be for a fee.
Yeah, but here's the thing. It'll be for a fee, but here's the thing, though. When you get done with these profiles, okay, like TJ, when you walk away from my studio here or the Skype call, when we're done here, you got what you wanted. You know that you saw how the amp was dialed in. You saw that I didn't EQ the mics and go, oh, you want less highs? All right, we'll just EQ the mic. No, I EQ the amp. I set it up the way you want. You could tell me, it feels like crap. Do this. I'll fix it for you. I'll fix it here in real time. And like I was thinking, I could do like an 1.5-hour session with you. We could sit here, do an 1.5 hours for a fee, and you can have as many amps, as many profiles of any one of my amps, or just one of them. It doesn't matter to me. I got a Zilla cab, I got a Mesa cab, and I got all these different amps, and I have a Splon on the way, and I have some other ones coming.
The more you want, the less you want Jarrod to yammer. So get right to it.
Yeah, so just tell me what you want.
Just get right to it.
Just tell me what you want, and we'll do a prospect profile of each one, and then we'll play Battleship from there and find which one's gonna sink your battleship.
Right.
And you're gonna find the one, and like TJ was done. Like after like a few profiles of each amplifier, he was like, "That's it." I'm like, "You sure that's what you want?" He's like, "Yes."
Yeah.
I'm done.
Nailed it. Like, perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he's happy, you know. And the thing that really convinced us is when we brought down the profiles on my thumb drive. I put them in the Kemper here, and we went back and forth. And I was like, yeah, there's a pretty decent sonic difference between them, but I wasn't playing him. He was.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, wait a second, switch back and forth. He was doing that picking thing on the string, and I was like, oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Like the beefy and fullness and I mean, it sounded like he was beating the piss out of the strings when on mine, but on the other one, it sounded like he was just barely hitting it, but he was playing the same way. So now he can play the way he wants to and get the sounds and the feel and the response and reaction that he wants to, and the sustain without having to beat the crap out of his guitar.
Marty5 says he's going to get a shipping container and an airplane ticket.
Dude, I'd love to meet that dude.
Yeah,
but
you
my
should
ceilings
totally do
He's going to bang his head on my ceilings down here. They're not that high, but that's fine.
Let me go back up real quick. Vince Vegas, I need a link to your band's music. You got to listen to how he described it. All right, Vince Vegas. I'm in an Arctic Eskimo root infused band with Comanche Scott roots. What should we incorporate to acquire a more popular diversity?
I gotta hear that.
I gotta hear that, man.
You gotta send us that.
I have never heard anything described. What was it again? Arctic Eskimo root infused band with Comanche Scotch roots.
That sounds really
Wow.
cool.
Seriously, your email's in the description,
Yeah,
right?
send me an email.
Send us a link.
I
I
wanna
have
check
got to
that out.
hear this.
Yeah, I've got to hear it too. That sounds really cool, actually.
Wow. And
and then I can answer your question.
And then he can answer your question.
With some
yeah.
perspective, you know.
Let's see. George just wants to hear some music. He's like, we want to hear some music, please. Thanks, buddy.
All right. Okay. So let's do this. Let's go back to. So we did the back and forth between the other profiles. So let's go back to your favorite EVH one, right?
Yep.
You want to do that? What is the other song that you want to play for everybody tonight?
Oh, we could do Separation.
Separation.
Yeah.
All right. So go ahead and
Now-
do.
I gotta say real quick. All right, everybody at home, I want to see a pit.
Okay.
No,
We'll
see
get a
pit.
mosh pit going in the comment
Yeah.
section. Some
Let me-
punches and muscles.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me make sure I have this dialed in the right way. Yeah, I do. Okay, never mind.
Here,
It's
I'll
good.
Start it. I'll start the pit off.
All right.
Good.
So.
There we go.
All right, so get ready. Here we go
Oh, yeah.
with Salvation's End, Separation.
More
my god, dude. Ooh, man, I don't even want to play anymore on my show. I think you should just come here and do it. I mean, you make me sound like a freaking beginner. I mean,
Oh, man.
it's an honor to have you play here. Seriously, like, this is killer.
It's a pleasure to be here.
I've actually learned stuff from him. Every time he comes over and plays, I'm like, what was that? What was that? I probably drive him nuts. And he's like, oh, it's just this, this whole thing? Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, I'll play your this whole thing.
David wants to know, when do the sacrifices begin?
They've already begun.
Yes. Yep.
The solo is so cool. Absolutely rock on, TJ.
Oh,
From
thank you.
Luca.
Thank you.
That was
let's
amazing,
see.
dude.
Thank you.
Seriously, that was
Thank you,
that
man.
was
Yes,
badass.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Metal.
Oh my god. We've done shows together and stuff, but I've never been this close to you while you're just like setting your guitar on
It's
fire.
so cool because yes, he's setting his guitar on fire.
We
but
can hear everything.
He's totally zen though. He's
I know.
Well, I didn't hit the dive bomb at the end. And I made a face.
That's
Luckily,
all
my
good.
hair covered it. Covered it up. But man, when I went to go hit that dive, and I just didn't pinch it right. I'm
Yeah,
like,
it happens.
ooh.
Yeah, it happens.
But
We'll egg your house later. I
yeah,
mean,
good.
yeah, but that was fun. Here's the thing too, like with like if you come here, whether it's by via internet, Skype or Google Hangs or Zoom or whatever, or you come over here, not only like will you get like custom profiles, but I'll do the custom effects for you. Like the delays that we did tonight were just a simple morph I did for them, and a lot of guys get like, morph, what is that? I could do morph all day. Morph is easy. I learned how to do it, and I can do it all day with any effects that you want. I could set up all your profiles to have all that stuff in it, and it saves you rooms because you got 4 switches up here that you can put effects to, and you can put 8. If you turn things on and off. You guys know how that works, but if you hit morph here, you can do it with that too instead of tapping up here. So it's just easier, and it opens up more switches and more options for you. And I thought the delays were just killer.
Yeah.
I mean,
Actually, I've never had that's one issue that our sound guy would actually be like, hey man, look, I have to put more delay on you. You don't have enough delay. I'm like, really? What are you talking about? And that would be perfect.
Yeah.
I've never played with that much delay before.
Sounds good though, doesn't it?
Yeah. It makes the solos and the notes just sound wider.
Well,
bigger.
in a mix, I dial in my effects to sound great in a mix. By
Right.
themselves, it might be too much, but in a mix, it's like beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
You ever heard the Trooch play? Like his delays are crazy, but by themselves, but in a mix, it's
I only
like,
go to Dream Theater shows to watch John Petrucci play.
Same here, man.
I don't even know what song we're on. I'm just like, yeah, man, just keep playing
Stars
that.
in your
Just
eyes.
keep playing that guitar, man.
Yeah, his notes are just pinging and ponging all over the room, and it's just amazing. It's like a flock of birds flying around. Every time he gets done with a solo, it's like this swirl of madness, and I'm like, that's what I want. And I think with the delay settings that I use now, I've achieved that. I mean, you could hear the swirl, and it's just like a flock of notes bouncing around, but it doesn't interrupt what you're doing.
Right. I agree. Yeah.
It sounds good.
Yeah.
So
Show Me Dat Beast asks, what's the equivalent of cowboy chords for a metal guy?
the equivalent of cowboy
What's a cowboy
chords?
chord?
I don't know what a cowboy chord is.
Is it? Hang on. It might be. Let's see if I can do this. Is that it?
Go ahead and play that, man. I'll sing. It's one time I had me a horse, and he got tired 'cause I ran out of victuals for it, and I couldn't feed it no more.
Oh boy.
No,
I'm watching our numbers drop.
I lost 28 subscribers.
You sure did.
No.
So what's the metal version then?
That would be black metal chords, and what those are is it's. And then you just like you have to whisper Satan.
Nice.
I like me
Oh,
some
man.
black metal every now and then.
Yeah. Well, let me go get my guitar because
Yeah.
I want to hear the difference between how I would play sound through these than you.
Absolutely.
So let me do that real quick.
Shall
and,
he? Let him play. Is there another mix that he can play while you're gone?
I do got one. It's the
Yeah.
hardest song.
It's the hardest song.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
I'll try to
Yeah,
get back
do
in
it.
time to turn your delay on for you, but is it Inferno?
Yeah.
All right, so I'll try to get back in time to hook you up with some delay, but if I don't, all you got to do is push that.
When do I
The
push
solo
it?
starts.
Okay.
And then when it's
So
over,
when the dude stops singing.
well,
Well,
when he goes up to this area,
Yeah, around here.
Okay.
Yeah,
Let's
push
say it's a
this.
good-
Okay.
don't push anything else but this. Number 3. And then when he's done, hit 3 again.
I'll look at you and you can be like this.
Okay. All right.
Give me
All
a
right.
head nod.
So here we go. This is Inferno.
Wow.
It's been a treat, man, having you play
Oh,
tonight.
thanks, man.
Oh my God, that is incredible, man.
That one hurt.
They're like, damn, that boy can play.
That hurt
Thanks.
good.
He
That's what that
said,
did. That was good,
I
man.
hope she doesn't hit the cowboy chord button. David said that picking hand is sick.
Yeah,
Oh,
dude.
thanks.
Seriously, you got some good technique there, man. You know?
Show me that B says Carrie looked like she was thinking, I'm not picking that up later when you threw your cap over there. You're right. I was
I ain't
like,
picking that up.
you getting that.
You getting that.
And
Yeah.
Jay sent a super chat for your cowboy impression.
Oh, hi, man.
And Mike Jacobs just sent a super chat. He said, wow, just wow.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, man, that was really good, and that was the final EVH profile that we decided on.
Yeah.
That would work for you.
Yep.
Now that you played 3 mixes with it, are you still is like the honeymoon phase? Like, are you still good with it, or?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, you know, I don't know what it is, but again, it's probably just because it's a raw tone. It's the actual amp.
Yeah,
You know?
it feels
And-
better, right?
Yeah, and I can, you know, I could tell instantly as an engineer exactly what I'm going to do when I get into a Studio One session and I quad track it with this amp. I know exactly what I'm going to do, and it's so minimal. It's fantastic. I mean, I'm a firm believer in getting the tone right at the source, and I think we nailed it.
I think we did too, man.
Yeah.
I was upstairs getting my guitar, and I had my in-ears in still, and I was just like, the chunkiness and the texture and just that gritty, grainy top end that the EVH has was just so like there.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you could almost, it was like you could feel it. It was like Braille. You know what I mean? You could feel that grainy texture, and it just sat in the mix perfectly. And the thing is like, if you have raw amp tones, what I've found is, you know, they feel better because again, sucking frequencies out of profile sucks the feel out with it because those frequencies have feel associated with them, and when you pull that out, the feel is going with it as well. Number one. And think of all the frequencies as nerve endings. You pull them out and you're losing feel in all those areas. Number two, you know, just because those frequencies are pulled out, how do you know that you don't need those frequencies in the mix that you're doing with your band?
Right.
That's why raw profiles are the best, because the thing is like, let's not get lazy here, guys, like with the studio engineers and stuff. I mean, we've all become studio engineers because, you know, everybody can do it at home now.
The industry is completely different.
It's completely different. I'm not taking away from the major engineers out there. They're worth every penny and they're
Absolutely.
amazing. So please don't get me wrong. But if you're going to do your own home recordings, you don't want pasteurized guitar sounds because they're pasteurized for someone else's mix, not for yours, because you're using your drum sounds, you're using your vocals, your keyboards, your bass player, your quad tracking, triple tracking, double tracking, whatever your pickups are, you know, everything's so different.
Yeah.
You know, it's like somebody picking out drapes for your house, but they're match theirs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's like, well, I don't have
Dude, you're talking
purple.
about your dudes. They don't care about their drapes.
Exactly, but I'm just saying, like, you know, like,
They don't care about drapes.
I don't have purple carpet. That's not going to work for me. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's completely different, you
We
know?
have a couple questions about your music, TJ.
Sure.
They want to know if you have your own YouTube channel, if you have some videos out
Ooh,
there.
we should talk about
I-
that. Let's talk about that.
Actually, I been talking to this guy, and he's been telling me that I should start my own YouTube channel. So my band has a YouTube channel. I'm actually going to be changing the name of that to where it's just going to be kind of me. I'll be doing like gear reviews. I'll be doing playthroughs. So some of the songs you heard tonight, you'll hear with playthrough videos and such. And I'll be doing lessons every week too.
You
so
have to do
little-
lessons, dude.
Little licks here and there. Some of my favorite
Yeah.
favorite techniques and such.
What's it going to be called?
Salvation's End on Facebook, though, right?
Yeah,
guys
you can find
post some
Salvation's
stuff.
End on Facebook. I'll start posting up YouTube videos
Yeah.
or links to YouTube videos on there too.
And where can they find your music? Do you have music for them to buy, to download?
Yeah, you can buy it on pretty much all digital platforms. It's not on Spotify, but you can pretty much purchase it, I think, on iTunes and all that other stuff.
It's a great sounding album. I mean, it really is. I mean, it's incredible. I mean, Rob
Thanks.
Lundgren is a killer vocalist,
Yeah.
too. Like, the
hands down.
top notch, man. And he's all over YouTube. I mean, he's got a huge channel, and for you to be able to lock that down. I mean, that says a lot for somebody to be at the height of Rob Lundgren to work with you. You can't have a Mickey Mouse project. You know what I mean? It's got to be something good. And dude, his vocals fit so perfect with all that.
Yeah. Well, and another thing too was, when we did all this, I was actually a huge fan of Rob's vocals. Like I was a huge fan of his YouTube channel. He would do like certain songs I was really into, Symphony X, My Wrath, a bunch of all these my favorite bands. And I remember when I first discovered him, I'm like, man, this guy's really good. I was like, I'm never gonna be able to find a vocalist like this. And
next thing you know,
I got the album done, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start looking around, and I just reached out to him. I saw he does studio vocals, so I said, hey, dude, would you be interested? And he's like, yeah, send me some stuff, and I sent it to him, and he's just like, this is awesome. I was like, I like the music a lot, and you guys seem really nice. So,
awesome.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, it was really cool though. I mean, I loved when you sent me some of the demos. I'm like, oh my god, dude.
Awakening. I was trying to get Awakening prepared for tonight. Yeah. That song's like almost 8 minutes long.
Yeah.
So
sounds like my territory now.
Yeah.
The prog. But you got to do some lessons, because I've learned a lot from you, and I think it's going to be really cool to have a channel where you just do, kind of like lessons where it's just like, we're not going to talk all this, hocus pocus about, stuff, just here's a lick, here's a riff, here's a lick, here's a whatever. I'm going to break it down for you, play it up to speed, play it slow, show you how can you use it in a mix or whatever. And what's the name of your channel going to be?
All the Shreds.
All the Shreds.
All the Shreds.
That was my idea, by the
That
way.
was his idea.
I told him, I was like, you got to call it All the Shreds.
I'm terrible at coming up with names. My band name, it took me like 5 years to come up with. So I'm terrible at coming up with names.
I love the name, though. All the Shreds. It's like, you know what you're getting when you come here. Like, it's All the Shreds. So
Gunnerman54 says, awesome. Will these profiles be available?
You know what? Drop me a line. Send me an email. And I will send you the ones that TJ settled on for free. Because I want to share this stuff with you guys, and I think it would be cool, and maybe give you guys some perspective too, like on what worked for him with his pickups and stuff. And I think that they turned out really good for what he did. Dude, I'm not kidding you. When I was upstairs getting my guitar and my beer, I was literally going, oh my god, the texture.
Yeah.
And the thing is like with the raw profiles, all that texture is not pulled out and homogenized out and distilled out of there. It's there, and it's just like, dude, your guitar, it was just so alive in the mix, and I was like, good lord, like here we're it's like we're back to real stuff again. It literally sounded like that, in the mix.
Well, for me it felt like when we were profiling the amp. I mean, it felt like the cab in the room. Obviously it wasn't, because you got that extra air movement, that extra thump or whatever.
Yeah.
But I couldn't tell the difference, to be honest with you.
And it felt good, right?
Yeah.
Like it felt good to play.
It felt like I plugged into a tube amp and started playing again.
So all right, so let's talk about this real quick. Like, how hard did you have to work to make that work in that mix? Like, were you just playing normal, like compared to the one that you just switched to these tonight? Like a couple of hours ago.
Right.
And with the ones that you brought, the ones that when we were playing earlier weren't very responsive at all, were your go-to quote-unquote profiles. Like, now, according to what I heard earlier, like it seems like you would have had to work harder on those as opposed to the custom ones, right?
Yeah, definitely. With the again, me being such a light picker and not wanting to beat my guitar to death, I feel like I can finally relax. It felt
just
like
play.
Yeah, it felt like when I would hook up to like a dual rectifier or something like that. Like if I had a tube amp in front of me, that's exactly what it felt like.
Yeah.
And I would find that it just had a perfect amount of gain, it had a perfect amount of texture and just overall feel. And it was funny because once we loaded up the old profiles I was using and went back to that, I'm just like, this is everything I hate about these profiles. I'm like, wow,
you're working hard again.
Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy, isn't it? Like how different they are, like how more responsive the custom ones were. And again, I'm not trying to take credit for this. He dialed in the amp that worked the best way for him. I just provided a place and the gear to be able to do that for him. And when he leaves tonight, he's leaving with profiles that literally, like, when he plugs into these tomorrow morning, he's not going to question anything and be like, well, now that, he didn't pick them out with fatigued ears. We did like 3 to 5 profiles of each amp, and it was like, there it is. Like, that's what I want. He dialed in the amp in the room, fine-tuned it with his in-ears on, and then we profiled it, and that was it. I wish we would have filmed that, but we didn't, but it was probably like, what were you down here for? About half an hour?
No, it was
longer.
It was longer than
that.
She kept saying, it'll be 20 minutes, Carrie, and you have to
times
it. Whatever time Jarrod says, you times it by 3.
Yep. Not our fault. It was the space age sound.
Yeah.
That's what added all the extra time.
Yeah,
hey,
but
it
was
just
fun.
wanted to thank Scott Fulmer. He sent another super chat.
Oh, thanks, man.
He said, Jarrod, does whiskey and beer mix? He's concerned for you.
Beer before whiskey is risky, but whiskey before beer, you're in the clear. So I already had my whiskey. Now I'm doing beer. So it's all good. That's why they do beer chasers. But thanks for asking. That's kind of the rule, right?
Yeah. There's a couple people that have been suggesting for you to try the Synergy modules as well. Like if you wanted more of an amp feel or something to try Synergy modules.
Well, that was one of the considerations that you had.
It was going to be the HELIX rack with Synergy.
Yeah.
And then the HELIX rack would have been in like 4-cable method or something.
Yeah.
That was definitely one, but they're great products. I had Syn 1 and I had the Bogner Uberschall module. Great sounding stuff. My only concern is how expensive it is to get, not only the modules. I mean, the modules are super affordable, but it's the housing units. Yeah, the initial purchase. And I'm like thinking to myself, like, okay, if I get, the Synergy stuff, I'm gonna probably spend about 25 to maybe almost $3,000. And with because with the HELIX alone, that's $1,500. The HELIX rack and everything.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and the thing is like, I think it's a great product. I have it upstairs. I leave it up there now because I only have so much room down here for stuff, and I leave it up there.
And it's super heavy.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there because I got a big rack with it all in there and stuff. But I mean, it's a great product, But when you're doing, the thing is like, it's one thing to have something at home that sounds great, It's just like my wall of amps now. It's like, look at my wall of amps. This is great. But would I take this with me on the road? No. Are you kidding me? No. Like, nobody's that big of a diva. I mean, it's like, here, it's my wall of amps. Everybody set it up. Chip, chop, chip. I'll be back after dinner. It doesn't work that way. That would be fun, though. I mean, if I won the lottery and I was able to bring like amp people with me, I'd be like, amp people, come, let's settle this up. And, after caviar and champagne dreams, I'll come back and play through it all. But it just doesn't work that way, But, but the thing is with the Kemper, the one thing that it was made for was taking your amps on the road with you. Plopping it on the floor and just going to town with it and just not worrying about all that stuff and being more simplified. Because let's face it, I mean, we've done shows together. What's the changeover time between bands?
Well, they aim for 15 minutes.
Yeah, but
they aim for 15 minutes, but we never get that.
But at like 10 minutes, usually you got somebody, shooting daggers at you, like, dude, hurry up, and it's hard, and then it's a hard changeover, so you got to get things going quickly. I've even seen, like, I saw Dream Theater tour with Iron Maiden. This was several years ago. It was the last tour they did with Mike Portnoy.
Okay.
And they came here to Pine Knob and they did the tour, the show with them, and I even saw Dream Theater. They opened up for Iron Maiden, and these guys were like almost drop kicked off the stage afterwards. I'm like, that's Dream freaking Theater. And it was like, Petrucci got done and it was like he ran off the stage and, his amp tech came out and grabbed all his stuff. And I'm like, dude, now you know how we feel. It was like, yeah, take that, John, But I mean, it was like, even they had to move quickly to get off the stage. And we don't have people, we can't afford them. So
most mid-level to like underground bands, we can't afford techs.
No, man.
That. So I mean, that's another reason why I went with the Kemper stage, was because I'm like, okay, if I ever get a chance to take my band overseas to Europe or Japan or wherever, I want to have a condensed rig to where I could just throw it in a backpack and take it as a carry-on.
Well, and the thing is even if you can't bring your Kemper,
A thumb drive, yeah.
There you go. There's your Kemper right there.
Yep. Just
they have them backlined.
Yeah. Yep.
Take your thumb drive with you, and there's your whole freaking rig right there, and you're done. You can fit it in your pocket. You know, I mean, you don't need a carry on for that. You know.
Yep.
So let me switch. Let's do this. I'm going to play through his final EVH on my guitar. That was a great suggestion, by the way, Ben.
Luca wants to know if TJ ever tested an orange.
Yeah, actually, when I used to work at a music shop, and I would have to like test out certain amps before they would get shipped out, you know, so if somebody bought it online or whatever. So I tested out a few of them. Some of them were really cool, man. I mean, really cool. You know?
Yeah, the orange amps are pretty decent. They got their own thing going on.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, their own kind of
that mid-range is
I was
amazing.
going to say mid-range, yeah.
Yep. I had an orange Rockaverb on here, and I thought it was pretty freaking cool.
I think that's what I played was a Rockaverb.
Yeah, I thought it was cool. It was cool. Yep.
Their cabs sound really good too.
Yeah, if you're a fast picker, that's a good amp for you because there's a lot of really great attack on those amps. So yeah, they're nice.
Yeah.
All right, let me play this real quick. I'm going to mute the mic and see what this sounds like through my guitar, and then I'll just quickly, you know what I'll do? Let me pull the wireless out, and then I'll hand you the wireless real quick.
Yeah.
And then I'll mute with this, and then we'll play with your guitar and see what the difference is, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so 1 second. Let me make sure I got my guitar set up right. All right, 1 second, guys. Okay, so I mean, here's the thing. I thought your guitar sounded much better with that than mine did.
Yep.
Yours didn't sound bad, but his sounded better.
Yeah, exactly. His sounded. I mean,
but it was made for his.
Yeah, it was made for his guitar. So that's the example that we're trying to show you. Like, I wasn't like disgusted when I played it, but it's not a tone I would use.
It's a little bit more scooped on yours, I think.
Exactly. Yep. It was too scooped on mine.
Yep.
You know, and I thought it sounded kind of scooped and too much high end. But on your guitar, because you have more mids, I felt like it was smoother.
Yeah.
But on mine, it was like that choked kind of scoop sound, and I would have dialed in the amp differently. So that's a perfect example of why, like, if you can do, and again, there's a lot of great profile makers out there that will make a profile that you'll find will work for you and everything. But I honestly think that if you want the optimal profiles for you, and I'm reaching out to all of the profile makers out there. I'm not trying to call myself a revolutionist or anything like that, but I think that this idea could revolutionize profile making. I really do, you know, and I for one want to offer that to people, so that if you're really looking for what really works for you, I honestly think that if it would behoove myself and other profile makers that are possibly watching this either right now or later, hello guys, I have a lot of respect for you. It would behoove you to offer that service. I mean, we got Skype, we got Google Hangouts, we have even the Facebook video chat. I mean, we have what's the Zoom thing. I mean, and if you're local, I mean, dude, I love hanging out with people. Me and TJ had fun today. I mean, we come over, grab a beer, like let's get some food, freaking make some profiles. And when you walk out of here, you're going to be full buzzed, and you're gonna have some amazing profiles that, again, you can trust because you saw. I'll show you the mics. I'll show you the EQs. I'll show you how I did everything.
Yep.
When you walk out of here, you're gonna know that these are exactly right, and you're gonna know that if you wanted more highs, I didn't do it on the Kemper. I did it on the amp.
Daryl McMillan wants to know what pickups TG is using.
The EMG 707s. Those are the pickups I'm using. I kind of a fanboy of these ones. I think these sound great. Unfortunately, the Ormsby I'm getting, they're direct mount, kind of like, or the passive mounts. So they got that little kind of like that one there, and the 707s won't fit in those. So that's why I'm kind of trying out different passive pickups. But who knows? I might end up just going back to like an 81 and an 85 for that. Who knows? You know? Yeah.
Well, and the thing is they're very mid-heavy, which is good.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yep.
And that's why everybody sets their amps up differently. And again, they're going to set up their amps that they're going to profile up differently as well. So
on that note, though, another idea, and I just thought of this, totally up to you, but you can actually have people send you DIs with their guitar, and then you just reamp it through the amp and get that profiled that way.
it's possible. Yeah. I mean, anything's possible these days. I mean, I'm telling you, with a Zoom session, I don't see how we couldn't get this done for you. I really don't. And I mean, especially if you're local. If you're local, or if you want to make the trip, Marty 5, and get on the, what did he say? I'm going to pack my bags.
Get on shipping container.
Yeah, get on the shipping container and head over here. I'm not kidding you. It would be fun, because I guarantee you, when you walk out of here, you're going to be very happy. And again, like if a Skype session, or even come over and hang out with me, I'll do all the amps. I don't care. It's an 1.5-hour session, so as many amps as we can cram in there, I'm good with that.
Gandhi says, I would make the trip from Chicago to sit, drink, and gent.
Hell yeah, dude. See, it's fun. We would have fun. We would get together and have a good time, and I'm telling you, it would be a lot of fun. Where's Dean Harkness at tonight?
Not in here.
Yeah.
He must be doing some family stuff.
Well, Dean, if you watch on the rewatch, hello, buddy. I miss you. We miss you tonight. So we definitely try to pay attention to everybody, and there's some great people in here. We appreciate all of you. So, I mean, I don't know. I would just say that if you want to give this a try, and again, I'm not doing this because I'm trying to make money. Okay, I mean, yeah, I have to be paid for my time, but I have a business that I own. I own a pressure washing business, so it's not like I'm like, oh, hire me to do your profiles for you. I mean, it's not about that. I'm doing this literally to help you. If you're frustrated with your Kemper, or if you're curious and you're like, I wonder how much better it could be. Is it really that much better? Is there really that big of a difference? I'm telling you, there is. There is a huge difference. I mean, I couldn't believe it when you were playing just on your string like that, and how when we switch back and forth between your go-to quote-unquote profile and your custom one that you dialed in tonight. I mean, that profile responded so much better to your playing. I mean, it was like night and day.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, can you imagine the possibilities? Like, now you can play better, and you're not going to exhaust your picking and fretting hand. You can actually play the way that you want to. You're not swimming upstream anymore.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're getting the response that you want out of the amp now.
And that's what would happen every time I'd buy like a pack or something like that. And I'd be like, okay, YouTube videos. Oh man, these guys make these sound amazing.
Oh,
and
dude, I can go on and on about that.
Yep. As soon as I hook them up, I'm like, and you get that really weak signal. That's what it almost sounds like, a weak signal.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's just what happened. And again, it's nothing against them. It's just I don't think they were tailored for my style of playing, or just how I play in general. I think everybody's unique.
Exactly.
So,
Well, and I think that, I mean, Kemper's been around for several years now. I don't even remember when it came out.
I think early 2010, so it's like 2010, 2011, maybe 12.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
And I think it's time for us profilers to, I mean, yeah, I might be one of the new kids on the block, there's guys that have been profiling for a long time, and again, I have a lot of respect for you guys. I really do. I think you guys do an amazing job. You have a reputation for a reason, and I think it's good. But I think that maybe it's time that we upped our game. I do. I think it's time that we offered something more. I think it's time that we offered something better. I think that our customers deserve better. I think that they deserve the opportunity to either come to our studios or Skype us or whatever to get custom profiles that will work perfectly for them, so that when they walk away, they're completely happy and satisfied with everything. And again, I'm one of those show me people. I'm one of those people that once you show me like how you did something, I can always feel comfortable with it and never have those doubts in the back of my mind eating away at me like, is this really for real? Is the amp really set up the way I want it? Because once you play an amplifier the way that you like it, I mean, it speaks to you in ways that you never thought would be possible. The feel is there. You take 10 different guys and put them on the same amp, it'll have 10 different ways that it was set up. I'm not kidding you. I can't exaggerate it enough. I mean, it really is a huge deal. And they'll all have it profiled different ways. Some guys will be like, well, I don't like the R10 mic in the 57. I want the i5 in the 421. Okay. It's amazing what one person likes and another person thinks is completely horrible, you know? And when you do profiles that are custom for people, I honestly think that they're going to be much happier with it. And it's amazing. I always use the ice cream analogy. You know, I used to work at an ice cream shop when I was a kid. And it's amazing how many people would order so many different flavors, and a lot of them didn't work for me. And I would just be like, I can't believe this guy's eating praline pecan. Like, here's your praline pecan. Have a nice day. You know, and I was a Mackinac fudge dude. You know, it's like, yeah, there you go. But it's like what works for one person doesn't always work for somebody else.
That's always how it's been.
That's
though.
a lot
if you
better
think about
than
it.
your drapery.
Oh, yeah. My drapes.
Comparison.
My drapes comparison.
No, that's how
I
it's
feel
always
like
been.
more people will be able to identify with that one.
Yeah, ice cream over drapes, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's how it's always been, though. I mean, you know, I think we've had this conversation, too. If you go in on, like, Yngwie's rig or Eddie Van Halen's rig and, you know, you're not going to sound like him because, you know, those guys have their rig set up, their way they play.
It works with their dynamics.
Exactly. Yngwie might, you know, beat his strings to death while, you know, I might go on there and it won't
Where's
sound
the
good.
response?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, why isn't this responding the way I want it to? So
the dude has like 50 cabinets on stage. How the heck am I not getting any like responses?
talk about a diva.
Right.
But
Yeah, but I mean that's what it comes down to, guys. I think what we discovered here with this experiment is very telling, and I think it's time for the next evolution in profile making. And again, I'm still going to continue to make profile packs,
right.
because I think that there's still some great profiles out there to be had and to be used, and there's going to be people that find great profiles on anybody's packs. But I mean, there's a reason why Kiesel has custom guitars. It's because when you go in there and you order a guitar with the neck that you like, the woods that you like, the pickups, all the different things. I mean, that's your guitar. I mean, there's never going to be a better guitar than that for you than that, you know? So, like, I just think that offering a custom profile pack for your customers, I'm doing it. Starting today, I'm doing it because what I learned today was extremely definitive and extremely telling, and I learned a lot today because you came over and did this, and we did this for you. And I'm not kidding you guys. I'm a believer in custom profile packs. I really am. And I'll be happy to do them for you guys. Yes, there's a bit of a fee involved. But again, when we're done, you'll be really happy with them because they're yours. And you dialed in the amp the way you liked it, you know. So I just think that we learned a lot today. And I was glad to share it with you guys. And thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me on.
That was some killer songs, man. Oh my God, listening to that,
Thank you.
like, oh my God, dude, seriously, that was really cool. I better up my game now on my mixes because that was freaking awesome.
Thanks, man.
So if you're watching this late and you want to watch the rewatch, I will timestamp it for you later. So tune in later or tomorrow, and I'll have all the timestamps up there. Is there any before we close out the night, are there any comments that we need to answer or questions or anything like that?
Ben Burnett says, Jarrod's guitar sounds very good with that profile. Curious to know what you would change.
Oh, gosh. Good question. So if I was to redo the profile, I would have the mids probably about dead nut center or maybe 11 o'clock. Okay, and I would probably have, yeah, it would be more of a mid change, I think, that I would do. I would boost the mids on it, and that's what I would do, and because his guitar is very mid heavy, mine's very mid light. Well, I don't say light, but it's different.
Well, I mean, they're warmer woods, so you got like all mahogany, and then I think what was an ebony fretboard.
Ebony fretboard.
Yeah.
So it's a completely different guitar. It doesn't have as much spank as his does, because that fretboard he has a lot of spank to it. Where mine's
it's all
darker.
maple. So it's like the fretboard's a maple, the neck's maple.
Yeah.
And then of course ash is a more brighter wood anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And
so
it's heavy as hell too.
Yeah. So it's a completely different thing. So that's what I would change.
Ben says money spent one time with you would be better than 10 experiments at $50 per experiment. Custom is always better.
Yes, I agree completely. Just because I spent probably $400 or $500 on profile packs.
Yeah.
Just to realize I didn't like any of them.
Well, the thing is like, we all have. I have too, in the past before I started making my own. Right, and, I think that spending money on profile packs is fine. Mm-hmm. There's nothing wrong with it. But the issue is, a lot of times I'll put it to you this way. Imagine you're about to go on stage and you're about to play in front of a bunch of people, and your guitar tech walks by you and says, "Hey dude, I just dialed in your pedals and your amp for you. You're good to go." What's the first thing that goes through your mind? Oh God.
Bro, I just asked you to bring me coffee, man.
Yeah, it's like I just wanted coffee. It's like, how do I know when I hit that first chord whether there's enough gain or too much? Or what if the mids are, what if I'm hearing, you know what I mean? You're going to be freaking out, And that's what happens when you buy a profile pack. You're like, that's what's, the guy's dialing in your stuff for you. Whereas if it's custom, you dialed it in. And you can be 100% confident that it's yours. And if it sounds like crap, it's your fault. You're the one that picked the settings. But here's the thing. If you do it in the session, like the first one, we were literally like, yeah, it's cool. Then after a couple of minutes, we're like, no, it's not. It's not cool. It's really honky and mid-rangey. And then we fixed it. And you heard the evolution. I mean, it went from honky, mid-rangey, crappy to like, ooh, there it is.
The sweet spot.
Yeah,
yep.
And he did 3 mixes with it. And here's the other thing. He came for the Engl. He's leaving with the Engl, but also the EVH profiles.
That's probably going to be like my staple. That's the only profile I'm probably going to end up using. I felt like it worked not only well for rhythms, but it worked great for leads.
Yeah.
And, I already got some really cool, clean profiles, so I don't have to really worry about that at all.
Yeah.
Not only that, but the acoustic simulator on this thing, awesome.
I haven't used it yet.
It's killer.
And we used the New Horizon Devices precision drive pedal in here,
I had no idea. I have to update my Kemper. I had no idea that they released that. It sounds great.
It's really good. Just make sure you crank the volume all the way up on it.
Yeah. Okay.
Because it comes with it down, and you're like, ooh, just crank the volume, and you're like, oh, there it is.
Awesome.
Well, I hate to be the one to be a party pooper. Everybody's saying goodnight.
Oh, okay.
It's
all right.
after 9.
All right. Ooh, the camera died. Oh, did the camera died?
Just died.
All right, guys. Well, the camera died, so
have a great night.
We're waving at nobody.
Every day's a gift. Thank you for spending years with us.
Thanks a lot, guys. Hope you guys got a lot out of this, because that was a really good. I thought it was a really good, informative show. Right. I'm trying to get the mouse to work right now, and it's not.
You have to go over there.
Yeah, I'm gonna go over there, but they can't see me anyway.
Right.
So, all right, guys.
Thank you, and we love you all. Goodbye.
Good night, everybody.
Thanks for joining us here tonight at Tone Wars. We hope you had as much fun as we did.